In the sterile silence of the modern gallery, a tiny leather shoe sits isolated, a fragile echo of a life long forgotten. Looking closer, the worn stitching reveals the miles traveled, the scuffs of play, and the passage of 1,000 years. As the texture shifts, the dry leather breathes again, transporting us from the cold museum to the warmth of a new life. Inside the longhouse, shadows dance on the walls as a mother rests, holding the future of her lineage in her arms. A rough hand, hardened by the axe and the awe, meets the delicate skin of the newborn, connection of blood and iron. With the ritual of Osavadni, water cleanses the brow. The child is named, accepted, and bound to the clan. But life was governed by fate. At the roots of the world tree, the Norns sat, weaving the destiny of every soul. A single golden thread is chosen. The spindle turns. A life begins, its length and knotted path already decided. Back in the mortal world, a cradle rocks by the fire. Carved runes guard the sleep of the innocent against the dark. A dried wolf's paw hangs above a talisman of the wild, invoking the protection of the beast against evil spirits. Outside, the reality is harsh. The village lies buried in the deep winter snow, a tiny island of heat in the frozen north. A glass bead, a small knife, grave goods placed with heartbreaking care, marking a life that ended too soon. Like a candle snuffed out, the smoke rises, taking the shape of our mortality before fading into the void. But for those who survived, life was vibrant. Young Bjorn runs through the summer fields, fueled by the joy of survival. He swings a wooden sword at imaginary foes. The tall grass becomes an enemy's shield wall, the sunlight his glory. We preserve these toys in the archive, proof that before they were raiders, they were children mimicking their heroes. He falls, he bleeds, but he does not cry. He studies the pain, learning the first lesson of a warrior, endurance. An elder hand lifts him up. No words of pity, only approval. The sword is returned. The lesson continues. As evening falls, the oral tradition begins. Eyes wide with wonder reflect the fire, drinking in the sagas of old. The storyteller's voice booms like thunder, bringing the gods down from the sky and into the warmth of the hall. They imagined Thor, riding his chariot across the heavens, his lightning striking the earth, protecting Midgard. Bjorn grips his stick, his own Mjolnir. In his mind, he is not a boy in a muddy village, but a god defending his people. He strikes a dried fish with a battle cry. It is play, but it is also practice. The muscle memory of war begins here. We find their winter tools as well. Ice skates made of horsebone, resting silent and white on the museum shelf. In an instant, the white surface becomes a frozen fjord. The bones are lashed to boots, sliding across the blinding ice. They push forward with spiked poles, racing the wind. It was fun, but it was also agility training for the slippery deck of a ship. Bjorn falls on the hard ice, scrambling up with a laugh. The cold flushes his cheeks, hardening him against the elements. Indoors, the mind is sharpened. Shafts of light reveal a game of strategy played on a fur rug. Hennafadif, the Viking chess. We view the glass pieces in the museum, symbols of a culture that valued intellect as much as strength. To the children, the board dissolves. The glass pieces become living warriors. The board a battlefield of life and death. Astrid moves with precision, trapping the king, a smile of triumph. She learns that victory often requires patience, not force. The game board was a map of war. The tactics learned by the hearth would one day be applied to the coasts of Europe. Play turns to labor. Bjorn hauls wood through the snow, the weight of the family's warmth resting on his young shoulders. Astrid sorts the herbs, learning the secrets of the earth. Knowledge is passed from mother to daughter in the dim light. At the forge, the fire roars. Bjorn watches the smith, the glow of molten iron reflecting the awe in his eyes. Sparks fly in slow motion. It is a world of transformation, where raw earth becomes deadly steel. A small iron hammer lies in the display case. Evidence that apprenticeship began early, the tools scale to the hand. The smith hands the tool to the boy. The grip is corrected. The work begins. The child is forging his own future. Astrid spins the wool, her tongue out in concentration. Every thread is a lesson in patience, every garment a necessity. Time accelerates, the seasons cycle from white to green. The children morph, growing taller, stronger. Childhood is left behind. A set of bronze keys rests in the spotlight. Green with age, they are the ultimate symbol of female authority in the Viking world. The bronze turns to gold as it clips onto Astrid's belt. She is now the keeper of the household, the guardian of the stores. She directs the servants, managing the wealth of the farm. The keys jingle with every step, a sound of command. The loom is a complex machine. Diagrams reveal the mathematics of the weave, the logic behind the fabric. Astrid stands at the warp-weighted loom, passing the shuttle. It is a rhythmic dance of creation, weaving the sails that drive the ships. Close up, the fibers tense. It is physical, demanding work. The strength of the sail determines the safety of the crew. In the silent forest, Bjorn becomes a ghost. Motionless in the mist, he hunts, learning the patience of the predator. A corroded arrowhead rotates in the void, a deadly relic that once meant the difference between feast and famine. Rust turns to polished steel, the focus narrows, the target is acquired. Life and death hang on a single breath. The arrow flies, cutting through the rain. A kinetic release of energy, accurate and lethal. They return in the blue twilight, breath steaming. The burden of the kill is heavy, but it is the weight of survival. Astrid grinds the medicine. The mortar and pestle are her weapons against infection and pain. She tends to her brother. The healer's touch is as vital as the warrior's arm. She is the keeper of health. Training turns brutal. Bjorn hits the mud. There is no mercy in the circle, only the hard lessons of combat. He rises, mud on his face, eyes burning. He does not yield, the boy is gone. The warrior is emerging. At the assembly, the law speaker recites the code. They learn that society is built on rules, not just strength. The scales of justice tip. They understand the value of silver, the weight of honor, and the cost of blood. Together, they stand at the cliff's edge. The wind blows from the west. The ocean is not a barrier, but a road. The dragon head of the ship rises in the museum, a masterpiece of carving built to terrify and to transport. A twisted silver arm ring sparkles under the light. It is beautiful, but it is also a contract. The museum fades. The silver shines in the smoky hall. Bjorn kneels before the Jarl, the firelight dancing on the metal. The ring is clamped shut, an oath is sworn. His arm is bound to his lord, his life pledged to the clan. The morning of departure is quiet. Astrid packs the chest. Every fold of wool is a prayer for his safe return. She hands him a comb, a simple personal gift, a reminder of humanity amidst the coming violence. The map opens. The ink line stretches across the North Sea. The destination is England, a land of gold and danger. On the pebbled beach, men and wood groan in unison. The ship is pushed into the gray water, the threshold of the unknown. The mother watches the sail rise. Her face is stoic, but her eyes betray the grief of every parent who lets go. The village shrinks. The safety of home vanishes into the mist. There is no turning back. The striped sail catches the wind with a snap. The technology of the longship harnesses the power of nature itself. Bjarn holds the steering oar. Salt spray cushions him. He is no longer a farm boy. He is a Viking. In the museum, tortoise brooches glow on black glass. They speak of wealth, status, and the role of women. Astrid fastens them to her dress. She sees a woman in the reflection. She is ready to take her place in society. At the feast, swords are exchanged. A wedding is an alliance. She marries not just a man, but a lineage. Horns are raised, skull. The hall roars with life, the warmth of community pushing back the night. But miles away, the reality is different. While she feasts in warmth, he shivers in the void of the open sea. Bjorn stares at the stars, the only map he has. The deck sways, a wooden shell between him and the abyss. The ocean wakes. A wall of water crashes down. Panic erupts in the darkness. He bails for his life. The lightning flashes like strobe lights on a nightmare. Every bucket is a fight for breath. Then, silence. The fog clears. The green cliffs of England rise from the sea, a promise of land and loot. They hit the water, cold, gray shock, shields held high. The raid begins. The Ulfberth sword lies on the table, a masterpiece of metallurgy, engraved with a brand of quality. The rust falls away. The steel gleams. Bjorn swings, and the world narrows to the brutal simplicity of kill or be killed. Teeth grit. It is visceral, dirty, and chaotic. There is no glory here, only survival. At home, another battle rages. Astrid grips the post, sweat pouring. She fights to bring life into the world. Midwives chant to Freya. Shadows dance. It is a war of the body, as dangerous as any shield wall. A silver pendant of the goddess rotates, a plea for fertility, for safety, for the mother and the child. Bjorn pants over his defeated foe. The monastery burns. The adrenaline fades, leaving only the crackle of fire. A cry pierces the air. Astrid collapses, triumphant. The baby lives. The lineage is secure. Bjorn picks up a golden cross. He sees gold, yes, but also a strange new god. A seed of curiosity. Astrid holds her child. The light softens. In a world of violence, this moment of peace is the greatest treasure. Blood spilled for death, blood spilled for life. The sword and the umbilical cord, two sides of the Viking existence. By the campfire, Bjorn cleans his blade. He is older now. The boy who played in the fields is gone forever. Hack silver sits on the scale, jewelry chopped up for currency, beauty destroyed for trade. But they were also merchants. In the bustling markets, he trades plunder for the exotic. He touches blue silk, soft, flowing, alien. It is a tactile connection to a world far larger than his fjord. Back home, the silk arrives. Astrid holds the blue fabric against the gray sky. A message of love from across the sea. She wraps her baby in color. A display of wealth, a flash of brightness in the dark wooden house. The fleet returns, heavy with silver and stories. The silhouettes cut against the sunset. The heroes come home. Bjorn steps onto the dock. A scar on his cheek, a heaviness in his step. The village looks smaller than he remembered. Astrid runs to him. The shield is dropped. The embrace is real. For a moment, the war is forgotten. He unpacks the treasures. Glass beads sparkle in the firelight. A baby's hand reaches for the foreign wonder. We find these beads in graves today. A string of color on a museum mount, proof that they traveled the world. At the thing, the assembly gathers. Under the open sky, free men debate. Democracy was born in these circles. Bjorn stands by his father. He watches the arguments, learning the power of words over weapons.
Let the law speaker decide.
Bronze scales rotate in the light, used to weigh silver for fines, to settle blood feuds without bloodshed. The law speaker holds the balance. Justice was not abstract. It was measured in weight. Wergild, the price of a man. Society was stratified. Jarl, Carl, Thrall. A pyramid of power built on loyalty and labor. At the winter nights, they sacrifice. Blood paints the earth, a bargain with the gods for another year of life. But the father fades. A cough racks his body. The lights of the feast blur into the background. Bjorn supports him. The strong son carries the weak father. The roles are reversed. The deathbed is dim. One candle burns. The generations gather to say farewell. The keys are passed. A whisper in the ear. The burden of the family is transferred. Bjorn is now the head. The breath stops. The candle smokes. A silence falls that is louder than any battle cry. A massive runestone stands in a modern field, a permanent memorial in a changing world. We see Bjorn carving it, grief converted into action. The chisel chips away the sorrow, leaving a legacy. Bjorn raised this stone for his father, a good man. Simple words that defy oblivion. The funeral begins. Fine clothes, respect, the last service a son can perform. They carry him to the ship, a vessel for the final journey, grounded on the earth but aimed at the sky. He lies in peace, sword in hand, surrounded by the colors and textures he loved in life. A Buddha bucket with brass fittings, an exquisite object from a faraway land offered to the dead. Bjorn places it at his feet, food for the journey, a final act of care. Grave goods are piled high, tools, dogs, wealth. He will not arrive in the afterlife empty-handed. The priest raises the torch. Prayers to Odin rise on the wind. The gate to Valhalla awaits. The fire is lit. The keel catches. The heat begins to warp the air. The ship becomes an inferno, a majestic release of the soul, smoke billowing into the gray sky. Bjorn watches, tears drying on his face. The fire consumes the past. He stands alone in the present. In the smoke they saw Valkyries, riders of the sky, carrying the fallen to the hall of the slain. Earth covers the ash. A mound is built. A new hill in the landscape, a physical mark of memory. Grass grows over the tomb. The runestone stands guard. Peace settles over the dead. Bjorn sits in the high seat. The light hits him differently now. He is the Jarl. The responsibility is his. Astrid pours the mead. She whispers counsel. She is the pillar that supports the roof. A blue glass cup rotates. A vessel that cannot be put down, meant for a culture of feasting and toasting. Bjorn raises it, mini remembrance to the ancestors, to the father who paved the way. Life cycles on. Bjorn teaches his son. The hand that held the sword now guides the small axe. Astrid teaches her daughter. The dough rises. The traditions are baked into the daily bread. The family tree grows roots. New branches form. The lineage is strong. But the horizon calls. Bjorn points west. Iceland, Greenland. The hunger for land drives them onward. The ships load again. Not just warriors, but families, livestock, hope. The migration begins. Time moves relentlessly. The face weathers. Hair turns white. The firelight flickers over decades and seconds. The hand trembles. The sword is too heavy. The warrior fights a new enemy. Age. A healed femur bone tells a story of pain. A thick lump of calcium, proof of a break that once meant death. We see the ghost of the injury. Old Bjorn limps through the snow. Every step is a victory of endurance. Astrid sits in the high seat, wrapped in furs. Her voice is raspy, but her command is absolute. The matriarch. A stranger arrives. A brown robe, a wooden cross. The new god walks through the gates. Bjorn clutches Mjolnir. He eyes the cross with suspicion. The old ways are threatened. A soapstone mold reveals the truth. It casts both the cross and the hammer. The blacksmith hedged his bets. Molten silver fills the shape. A pragmatic people adapting to a changing world. By the fire they talk. Stories are exchanged. The conflict softens into dialogue. The roots of Yggdrasil tangle with the tree of life. Beliefs merge. The culture evolves.
Stories, they have power.
Old Bjorn walks to the sea. He leans on his staff, a shadow against the sunset. The nostalgia is heavy. Memories flash, running, fighting, loving. A life lived at full speed, now slowing down. His eyes water, not from the wind, but from the realization that his voyage is ending. Astrid lies fading, the candle flickers, the family gathers once more. He holds her hand. The silence speaks of a lifetime shared, the partner of his soul. The bronze keys are passed, the daughter takes them, the authority continues, unbroken. The eyes close, the light goes out, Bjorn is left alone in the dark. He stands by her mound, a small figure in a vast winter landscape, waiting. He commissions his own stone. He will not wait for others to remember him. He writes his own history. He traces the red runes. Bjorn the Strong raised this stone for himself, a final act of defiance against death. The ego of the Viking. He ensures his name will be spoken when his voice is gone. But the end is not glorious. He lies in bed, weak. The straw death, dying of old age, terrifies him. He fears the gates of hell. He sees the golden hall of Valhalla closing to him. He grabs his grandson, a desperate gesture. The sword, he pleads. Give me the sword. The cold hilt touches his palm, a smile of relief. He dies armed. He dies a warrior. The chest stops. The grip holds. The story ends, but the ritual begins. An antler comb lies on the museum table, an intimate tool of care. The daughter grooms his beard, the last act of love, dignity in death. They dress him in the blue silk, the scarf he bought as a young man. The circle closes. They dig the earth, a chamber grave, a wooden room for the dead, built to last. He sits on his chair, sleeping in state, a king in his own underworld. His shield, his game board, the things he loves surround him. He is provision. A horse lies at the entrance, a steed for the final ride. Status buried in the soil. The roof is sealed, the light vanishes. Bjorn is left in the eternal dark. Rocks and earth pile up. The mound rises. The rain turns it to mud, sealing the tomb. Seasons pass. Snow, melt, green, rot. Nature reclaims the mound, hiding the history beneath. The rune stone weathers. Moss fills the grooves. The name fades, but the stone endures. A church rises in the background. The new faith overshadows the old mound. Cultures layer upon cultures. Today it is a bump in a field. A tractor plows around it. The king is forgotten, hidden in plain sight. But science remembers. Archaeologists map the grid. The yellow string marks the spot. Ground-penetrating radar sweeps the grass. We see the invisible. We seek the dead. The screen glows. A rectangle appears. The chamber is found. Discovery electrifies the air. Trowels scrape, the earth yields. The dark wood of the roof emerges from the soil. Bones appear. Bjorn meets the sun again. The rusted sword still rests by his side. A brush reveals blue glass. The game pieces from his childhood. A poignant reminder of the boy he was. A ghost overlays the bones. Past and present merge. The artifacts bridge the gap. In the lab, the tooth tells a story. Isotopes reveal the chemistry of his life. The map lights up. We track his voyages. Science proves the sagas were true. The broken leg is examined. We see the pain, the healing, the survival. Muscles form over digital bone. The face reconstructs. Identity is restored. He looks at us. Bjorn is no longer a skeleton, he is a man. We recognize him. Under the microscope, blue silk, a tiny fiber, a massive story of love and trade. Outside we find the stone, mossy and forgotten, but the laser knows. The red line scans. Technology saves what time tried to erase. The moss vanishes digitally. The name shines clear. Bjorn the Strong. He has spoken again. The silver is cleaned. The tarnish removed. The glory of the arm ring returns. Placed in the case, white gloves handle the legacy. Preservation is the new reverence. Children enter the gallery. Noise, energy, the future meeting the past. A boy presses his face to the glass. He stares at the sword. The curiosity is timeless. The reflection morphs. The modern boy becomes the Viking boy. Humanity is a single mirror. We see the peaceful things. Spoons, flutes, toys. We remember they lived, not just fought. Words survive. Vindoga, the Windai. It becomes window. We speak their language every day. We look through the hole in the wall. The literal meaning clears the fog of history. Thorsteger becomes Thursday. The thunder god lives on in our calendar. On the streets of Oslo, we see their faces. The genetic legacy walks among us. DNA glows. The blue strand connects us to the mound. We are the survivors. The fisherman hauls the net. The motion is identical. The sea does not change, nor does the work. The carpenter grips the chisel. The craft survives. The hands know what to do. The Norns still weave. The web of fate has grown vast, stretching across the digital age. The golden thread becomes a fiber optic cable. The sagas are now data, pulsing with light. The server room hums. We preserve our stories in code, just as they did in stone. The fjord remains, majestic, indifferent, beautiful. It is the silent witness to it all. Ghost ships sail the mist. If you look closely, you can still see them. The skull stares back. Memento mori. Remember you will die, but remember you lived. Happy is he who wins for himself. The Havamal speaks across the centuries. Fair fame and kindly words. We see the laughter, the love, the life well lived. A reenactor breathes the cold air. He feels the spirit. History is not dead. It is relived. The aurora explodes. The Bifrost Bridge opens. The magic is still there in the sky. The raven flies. Odin is watching. The lights go out. The museum sleeps. But in the dark, the silence is heavy. The glass fogs, the breath of the past condenses. They are here. Ghostly figures materialize. Bjorn and Astrid stand beside their bones. They touch foreheads, young again. In death they are reunited. Love outlasts the grave. The walls dissolve. Yggdrasil grows. We are back in the myth, under the stars. We remember the splash of water, the beginning. We remember the play, the learning, the joy. We remember the fire. The end. The Norns cut the thread. Snap. The story is told. We return to the shoe, the tiny leather artifact in the spotlight. A ghostly hand reaches in. The past reclaims its own. The child runs into the light. The meadow of Valhalla awaits. He is free. The golden door is closed. The mystery is sealed. The runestone stands in the snow. The end. Carved in wood, the names of the creators burn into history. The archaeologist shakes hands with the Viking, past and present united. The hammer strikes, the echo fades. A modern child finds a stone with a hole. He looks through it at the sun. He sees what they saw.